So this year I am going to be reading out of this book called The Book of Belonging, which is written by Mariko Clark, and the pictures are by Rachel Eleanor. And I will be reading, this is actually just short Bible stories, honestly, that have been rewritten for those of us who want to listen. So this one is called The Messy Middle, which is appropriate for our Lenten theme. But you can see the picture right here. The picture? Okay. What happened next was so very dark and heavy, but so very important. It's the part of the story we might like to skip over, or perhaps we just cover our eyes and peek through our fingers. It shows us the very worst things in human hearts all at once. Pride, greed, fear, shame, ignorance, and violence. They all met together with a horrible clash, like a great boom of thunder. It began in a garden, as a great many important things do. Yeshua, that's another name for Jesus, heaven and earth bound up in a body. The God who came to be a human was sad, because even when you know the end of the story, it doesn't make the messy middle go away. His friends had fallen asleep while he prayed, and the olive grove was dark and lonesome. He talked with God, sharing his big feelings and asking for comfort, courage, and direction. And God was with him. And then they came to get him, men with torches and weapons sneaking through the night, people who had something to hide, priests, temple guards, religious leaders, armed like soldiers. It was all so backward and wrong. No violence, Jesus told his friends who were awake now, ready to fight. Put your swords away. And then he turned to the men, looking them in the eyes. Am I so dangerous that you brought swords and clubs to collect me? You know me. You've been with me in the temple every day, but you didn't lay a finger on me. But that was the day, and this was the night. And under the cover of darkness, the religious leaders were led by fear. They grasped for control. They grabbed Jesus and took him to the house of the head priest, a man corrupted by power. They questioned Jesus and mocked him and plotted and screamed. Then they sent him to Pilate and Herod, leaders in the Roman power machine. Did they know the full story of who they were looking at? Do we ever really know the whole full story of who we are looking at? He talks about a new kingdom, but we already have a king, the Roman leaders claimed. He's not loyal to our power machine. Here's some more pictures. He breaks the rules. He threatens the peace and says he is the new place of belonging with God. The religious leaders agreed. He's not loyal to our traditions. He's not loyal. He's dangerous. He needs to be stopped. They decided that Jesus would be crucified, executed like a traitor. It was a horrible day, and Jesus felt every horrible thing a human could ever feel. His body was used and abused so that people in power could keep feeling powerful. And then he was hung on a cross of wood. He felt alone. He felt abandoned. But he didn't fight back. He didn't escape. He was God in a body, and that body was part of a bigger story, a story of heaven bumping earth, hope mixing with sorrow, a story of already and almost. So there he hung in the messy middle, arms outstretched as if to hold it all, as if to hold us all. Forgive them, he gasped to God. They don't know what they're doing. But Jesus knew what he was doing. I love you. I love you. I love you. There's nothing you could do that isn't forgiven. Nothing could make me stop loving you, stop belonging with you, stop delighting in you. Not the worst in human hearts, not the heights of human suffering. There's nowhere you can go where I won't be with you. Not even into death. Because in the most awful moment of that most awful day, Jesus breathed his last breath. It was wrong. It was unfair. It was backward. An innocent person punished like a criminal, a life giver's life over, the Creator destroyed by creation. You can see the cross in the hand. The earth shook in protest. The rocks split with sorrow, and the noon sky went as dark as the night. As creation rioted, Jesus' friends stared in horror at his body, so silent and battered and still. When it was taken down from the cross, they placed it in a tomb. And as a heavy stone was rolled across the entrance, it felt like a door was being shut forever. The dark day was drawing to an end, and the ground city settled and shushed. Everyone returned to their lives in the dazed, hurried way that people do after a spectacle. Doors were shut, lamps lit, and deep sighs released. Why? 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 Wondered the people who Jesus had healed and taught and embraced and celebrated with. He was God in a human body. He performed miracles. He said his kingdom would never end. He was supposed to bring heaven and earth. What happened? Why didn't he save himself? Asked Jesus' friends. What have I done? Asked the Roman soldier. That's the end of that, said the religious leaders. Because although death was a mystery, most people would agree that it was the end. But Jesus was not like most people. That's the end of our reading for today. Come back next week for a new one.